Well, good afternoon there, pipe pals. Well, this is old Holy Smoking Pipe Padre coming back at you. Smoking my rather thin, lean-looking 7LE. My Saturday 7LE. And I'm sharing with you my TSC Week 5 challenge. We're going to talk about that. But first, I want to tell you what I'm smoking in this wonderful pipe. This is a blend I have known about probably, at least 25 years. I might have even had a tin of this once before. But I have had a hankering for early morning pipe, Dunhill's early morning pipe. And here it is right there. And I'm telling you what, this is wonderful, wonderful pipe tobacco. It's sweet, and it is very delicious, no doubt about that, let me tell you. This is probably the first pipe I've had, probably about a week, since I made my last video to you guys. So, I'm here today to share with you my love of this wonderful tobacco, this wonderful Dunhill tobacco. I just absolutely love this tobacco. Wish you could smell that. Gotta love it. Anyway, I am just enjoying a pipe, and I'm enjoying some wonderful tobacco and some wonderful music. Now, the reason why I'm playing this soundtrack to Apollo 13 is it does tie in, believe it or not, with this week's TSC Champion Challenge, 300 Challenge. And I'll be sharing with you some, probably, maybe even right now. Go ahead and start putting up some videos here, and let's see, there maybe, one up there, whatever. And just kind of sharing with you what I did this week, this weekend. I was really excited about this week's challenge. But there's more than just sharing with you the weekend's challenge that I take every Saturday. And this is the halfway point. It's a 10-week little program. I'm going to talk more a little about that in depth in just a moment. But this has been like the first kind of break I've had in probably a couple of days. I've just been really super busy, and it's only the next 2 weeks we're going to get really even more busier. We're coming up on Passion Week. This coming week is Passion Week in kind of the old traditional understanding of it. It's the week before Holy Week, so there's a preparation period for Holy Week, and that's Passion Week. But people don't know. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can. So I got the glitch in the old Logitech cam. So that's usually a little clue that I've gone too long or whatever. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of share with you some of the videos that are playing right now. The old pull-ups, push-ups, and didn't get a chance to really record the run per se, but that is the course that I run. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about this whole process that I'm going through. A few of you have expressed an interest, kind of asked me some questions about what am I actually doing, what's the diet, what's the exercises. So anyway, but the reason why I'm playing, this is the background. I'm afraid that it's probably going to get gigged by you know who. So hopefully it doesn't. But the thing is that when I got up this morning real early, I wasn't feeling good. I haven't been feeling good for the last week. Been in a lot of I don't think I've actually injured myself, but I really, you know, I've pulled some muscles, yeah. And also I kind of did a little bit of straying from the straight and narrow on the diet there. I paying a little bit of a price for that. But as I got up this morning, and I went for the good old, you know, got outside and started moving. What greeted me, I listened to Minnesota Public Radio on my iPhone, and they had the movies of Tom Hanks. They were doing a retrospective of that, and of course they had the movie soundtrack from Apollo 13, and this music just was so early in the morning as the sun's coming up, was so inspirational. I mean, it infused me with some emotional, spiritual, psychological energy that I just didn't have this morning. And I was in some pain, sore, and I really didn't want to be out, you know, moving that early in the morning. But all of a sudden I hear this really inspirational music, and man, I'll tell you what, it really lifted my spirit. It just lifted me from feeling just like I was just down in the dumps, you know, clawing my way through the trenches, to all of a sudden just being transported and soaring above it all. It was marvelous. So the music, just all of a sudden, this music just in the, you know, I've always loved this movie, and I've always loved the soundtrack, but today it especially was a special little gift, and I really just thought it was awesome. So, but you know, had I not gotten up and moved and said, you know, I'm going to put my butt out there and start moving, I wouldn't have been able to hear that wonderful music and have that wonderful experience in the early morning. So, you know, even though sometimes it hurts, I guess that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. Sometimes you kind of force your body into a new way of living, and sometimes it can be quite powerful medicine, as they say. So anyway, I thought I'd just kind of quickly show you some of the exercises that I do, you know, whether it's down here, whatever, or there, or even in the center there. And again, I'm not a strong man by any stretch of the imagination. I don't pretend to be Mr. Muscle Man, you know. I'm not Superman, okay? I'm just a old guy who is actually kind of impressed at how I'm responding to, yes, it's kind of, I guess what I wanted to talk about is this is good. Early morning pipe. I know it's late evening, early evening pipe now for me. Okay. I think it's a rich Virginia's. Those of you are wondering what this is blended out of, I think it's Virginia's. A mellow, delicately flavored smoking mixture. Sometimes it tells you what the tobaccos are. No. Anyway, it's very sweet, very flavorful, and quite enjoyable, I have to tell you. And yes, I got a little gurgle in my pipe, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But anyway, I guess I don't know if the videos are still playing or not, but those are just some of the exercises that I've done. And every day it's different. One day it's cardio, one day it's okay, yesterday's workout, Friday, Let me show you this. If you buy the program, you get to download these. Actually, it's a PDF file. It has all the exercises. Those are the exercises that you do. He has videos on how to do the exercises. He has the whole program really is pretty basic. You could probably get all the stuff for free because a lot of it just basic. I guess a basic bodybuilding, perhaps. Basic strength training. So it's not like there's some secret formula. There's no gimmicks really. The only thing is that you have to do the work. That's what you have to do. You have to get off your. You have to stop being, as Chris Kruger would say, you have to stop being a piece of furniture. Get off that couch right now. Get off that couch, and start moving. Start living. You know, say something that maybe that I'm saying this to myself. Sometimes living real life involves pain. You're going to encounter pain. You're going to encounter difficulties. You're going to encounter problems. You're going to encounter setbacks. You're going to encounter all sorts of things. But that's because now you're living your life. And if you're like I was just kind of a guy who was just, you know, I wouldn't say I was kind of existing, but I was aware that there was more I could be doing. And I just needed to challenge myself. And it's funny because I was thinking about this morning. Deep down inside, I've always known, even when I was obese and I was living in a 48-inch waistline, and eating McDonald's 3 times a day, and I was, well, not every day, but there were times I would eat McDonald's 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh, and occasional, little Mickey D midnight snack kind of thing. I mean, I was a fast food aholic. I love fast food. We have a new fast food restaurant, and I have tried it 3 times. I can count it 3 times. Called Smash Burger. And if you ever tried Smash Burger, you know those are pretty tasty too. But I got to a point where I realized there's a saying, nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. I'll say that again. Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. So that's kind of an interesting phrase, but I think there's some truth to that. So even when I was, living in 48-inch, almost 50-inch trousers, waistline trousers, and just being, obese and not feeling good at all, couldn't. Anyway, I won't go there. I won't. That's a little too personal, too embarrassing. But my gut was so fat that it just was not healthy. But I always knew. All right, I had this feeling deep inside, and most people told me you're being silly, you're not being realistic. I'd say, because when we go through, cleaning out my closet, and I'd find size 34 trousers, and my friend, would say, you're never going to wear these again. You're never going to fit back into a 34. Never. Somehow, deep in my soul, and it wasn't to try to prove them wrong, but I said, no, that's not true. I don't think so. There's going to be a day when I will fit into a 34 again, maybe even a 32. Stay tuned. But there was something inside me that said I can do this. And so after starting a year ago with intermittent fasting on Ash Wednesdays and Fridays I'd fast, and then later in the spring I bumped it up to 3 days a week. And then I started walking. I started about a half an hour every day. Then I increased that to an hour a day. And then I increased it to 2 times a day, 2 hours a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Started looking into different diets. I can see the benefits of different diets, although they would seem to contradict each other. But you know, there's something to be said for, say, more of a vegan type plant-based diet, certainly. And there's something to be said for a paleo diet, which basically both of them are very similar in the fact that they both recommend and advocate whole foods. No processed foods, no junk foods, okay? And processed foods. Junk foods, processed foods, you eliminate those, you're halfway there to losing weight naturally. And then exercise, start moving. The thing with this TSC challenge, and again I started it March 1st, this is more of a kind of like maybe the final push to fitness and trying to get more athletic ability in my body. Not to become a real athlete per se, but to at least get back some of my momentum, my agility, my flexibility, my stamina. Can say that. I can say that. Stamina. And just being able to live in life. Now, here's the thing that I've kind of noticed in the last 5 weeks that I've been doing this. And this is what I kind of want to talk about real quick, and then I'm going to end the video, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and kind of maybe fast forward this to that really inspirational part here that I really enjoyed this morning. Can I do that? Okay. Is it going to work? There we go. You know, the first 5 weeks I've had to just kind of just go through the motions and learn the exercises, learn the routines. And so for the first 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I've kind of been going through this process of kind of rediscovering what my body can do, what it's kind of maybe struggling to recapture, some, you know, certain things that I used to do without thinking about it. Now I'm having to say, okay, I'm going to have to put a little more concentration in this. And that's where this process has been kind of interesting and illuminating. Because I've been going through this whole thing, and although there's a conscious effort, there's a part of me that I'm learning something. And so that I'm learning the rudimentary things, sort of like getting a pipe for the first time, you know, trying to figure out, you know, I got a pipe, but how do I really smoke it? And you got to learn how to pack it, you got to learn how to light it, you got to learn how to draw. Okay, so you have to learn those rudimentary things. And when you're kind of learning that, you're not really, you are doing it, but you're not really conscious of doing it, if that makes any sense. You're just kind of, you're thinking about the process. And that's kind of where I've been for the last 5 weeks in the TSC Transformation Super Challenge Heart of a Champion program. Is learning the rudiments, but I've been doing that sometimes when part of my body says, you're not supposed to do this. You can't do this anymore. You're too old. You know, part of my mind starts to try to kick in and say, what are you doing? You can't do this. And yet, I've kind of ignored that voice. I mean, there are times, you know, like when it was raining and it's cold, or I have sore, you know, muscles, you know, little DOMs or whatever, or maybe I pulled something. I'm going, man, I hurt myself. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. But something says, there's that little voice of reason that says, no, you can do this. You can do it to this extent. You can do it with this intensity, but you can still do it, even though it hurts, or it's uncomfortable, or I just don't want to do it. Because I am not motivated, let me tell you. And the thing I've surprised myself with is just lots of things. And I don't think if I had challenged myself, okay, first of all, if this whole thing wasn't something deep inside of me that says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose all this weight. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to get reasonably healthy again. because deep down inside there was some little kernel, some little program, and in spite of all of the data, you know, in my life saying, look, you're 57 years old, 56 years old at the time, 56 years old, you're morbidly obese, you can't do these things, you're going to get yourself a heart attack, you're going to hurt yourself, you can't do this, you're physically not capable of doing these things anymore. And so all those other little voices were also chiming in, but at the deepest level there was some kernel of truth that said, you can do this, and you will do this. And so that's what I've been kind of going through the first 5 weeks, as I'm reflecting back on the first 5 weeks of this program. And not only that, but the last 13 months, I have lost considerable weight, not to the extent I've lost now. I've lost about 91 pounds, but I've lost maybe 30 or 40 pounds in about 4 or 5 times in my life. And that's a good chunk of change to lose. But the problem is I'd always gain it back. And the reason why I gained it back was because I was only going to do it for a short period of time. My goal was to lose the weight, per se. And that's another revelation that I just got just a couple weeks ago, and that is, I'm not trying to lose anything. Because the problem is, if you psychologically say you've lost something, what are you going to do psychologically? You're going to try and find it again. So if your body thinks it's losing something, it's going to try and find it back again. And that's always been my problem. Part of my problem is I would go to a certain point and I'd stop. Just come to a stop. Okay, I'm done. I'm happy. I got to my goal weight. I'm done. Ta-da! And guess what happens? I would start going out and just binging and eating with abandon. You know, I didn't care anymore. Now, and you're saying, oh, so you don't have pizzas anymore, and you don't have chocolate overflow cake anymore, and you don't have treats anymore? Wrong. I do. But now I plan those treats. You know, if I want a chocolate cake, I can have a chocolate cake. I can have a piece of a chocolate cake. I can have a chocolate cake if I want it. I have to plan for it. But now that I'm kind of getting into a new way of eating, a new way of living, the chocolate cake, it's okay. You know, I might have a piece or two and say, well, that's enough. So some real changes have happened, I think, on the inside. And that's why I'm just so excited about this rediscovery, if you will, of me as a person, as a human being, as even a, do I dare say, a quasi-athlete, you know? The guy who's we have a real guy who's a real true triathlete in our parish. He's 63 years old. You wouldn't know what to look at him. He looks like he's 38. But he's been a kind of a mentor and a coach and an inspiration. And he said, you're turning into an athlete now. So, if that inspires you, if nothing else, I hope this music inspires you. It inspires me. You know, get yourself your pipe out and think about change. Think about change, because change is possible. But it won't happen if you don't put it into action. The old saying is, nothing changes if nothing changes. So what are some little things that you could start today to start to change? You know, look at your diet. Look at your exercise. And also another thing too is, you know, this is not like a deprivation, starvation, punish yourself kind of way of life. That's not it at all. It's all about getting a quality of life back that you've maybe forgotten about. Maybe you've never even had it before, really. But you can have it now if you want it. But you're going to have to do a little bit of work. But the thing is, you do a little bit of work every day, and you be consistent about that. And over time, you'll see some wonderful changes in your life. Anyway, that's my TSC Week 5 challenge. Oh, my scores this week were, if you're interested, I can do it from memory. I think I got, that was Friday. Okay, I did 85. No. Wait a minute. Sorry. Where do we go here? Gotta see my... These are all printouts for every week here. There we go. Okay, so the old score here, pull-ups this week, I did 14. I think last week I did 13. 3 months ago, I could only do one chin-up, I could only do a half a pull-up. But my chin-ups went from 3 months ago, starting off at 1, and today 14. That's not bad. Push-ups, the max is 50. I did 45. Actually, last week I did 46. I thought I only did 45 last week, so I kind of snookered myself. I kind of stopped. I kind of thought, okay, I'm not going to push it. You know, I'd probably do one, maybe two more. If I'd done two more, I would have actually beat my score from last week because I thought I only did 44. But anyway, I did 45 today, and the run I did 28:42. So that's not too bad. It's not setting any world records. I know that. But for me, I'm happy and I'm delighted at these numbers because 3 months ago I couldn't even run a mile, and now I'm running 3 miles. I couldn't even do a pull-up barely to save my life, and now I can do 14. Push-ups again, I could probably do maybe about 10, 7 when I started, you know, because I could grunt those out. For some reason I could still do push-ups, but just barely. Anyway, so that's my TSC Week 5 Challenge test results. So old Holy Smokin' Pie Padre saying, get out there and make it happen. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.